Hi there, this is Just Nigeria. Coming up on the program. Rising cost of food prices in the country. We examine factors responsible for this surge and how they can be mitigated. Also, determined to succeed, we tell the story of the fashion designer who gave up 5 years of her life to serve as an apprentice in return for tuition. And defiant and resilient, we meet the physically challenged Taekwondo instructor teaching young people martial arts. Plus,
my name is Rehia Giwasage. I'm a boxer, expert boxing trainer. Check me out.
The sports enthusiast introducing boxing into fitness routines. Welcome to Just Nigeria from the BBC and Channels TV. Here, we bring you balanced and insightful perspective to stories being talked about on social media. I'm Ajoke Hulotse. Let's get right into our top story this week. There has been a significant spike in prices of food items in the country lately. Many Nigerians are complaining of tough times, even as these hikes are made worse by limited sources of income. While some traders have attributed the high cost of food items to the inability of farmers to produce enough, others argue that the problem may be closely linked to the COVID-19 pandemic. But what's responsible for this surge, and what should the government be doing to minimize its impact? Abayomi Adisa tells us.
A tale of a struggle to stand the flow of a spiraling cost of living. Prices of food and other household items seem to be on an unexpected surge, dwarfing individuals' income.
Barely 2 months ago, 1,500 naira could buy this small basket of Irish potatoes. But today, it is 2,000 naira. That's a 33% increase in its price. Nigeria is hit with persistent increase in the prices of goods and services, despite the easing of the lockdown. Nobody knows when these prices will fall. Tomorrow, this could sell for 2,200.
Patricia regularly buys her food items in this open market. But for more than 4 hours, she's gone from store to store, trying to squeeze out a bargain that fits her budget. Tired but determined, she continues to search for her own brand of affordable.
Baskets of tomato we used to get at the rate of 3,000, 4,000, now it's 8,000, 12,000, 20,000. So I've been going around to see if I can get the one that is based on my budget.
She says she and her family now ration their meals despite doubling their budget for feeding.
Nigerian rice, before how much will you buy Nigerian rice? Now, Nigerian rice is at the rate of 25,000, 26,000. So we cannot even eat it because it has a lot of stone. Foreign rice now, you buy it at the rate of 32,000, 31,000. So everything is expensive.
Kemi has had a sweaty day. Like Patricia, food prices have gone beyond her budget.
The amount of food stuff has really gone up. I mean, really, it has doubled right now because I'm so shocked even coming into the market now. But you know, we have to buy, we have to eat.
Idris is a trader and patronizes this food vendor. He is forced to increase spending on food despite putting nutritional options like vegetables, dairy products and proteins on hold.
So they buy food 250 in the morning. In the afternoon, my food not 250, but now, not 350, then they satisfy me. I know if you buy meat or more, because it affects my pockets.
Consumer prices are rising, but the economic realities and sources of income for buyers are dropping.
If you look at the September data, I think the overall inflation rate was around 13.7. But if you look at the foodstuff, when you focus on foodstuff, that's around 16%. And most people, especially low-income earners, spend a big chunk of the little they have on foodstuff, right? So if you have that is around 16%, that can become problematic.
The Food and Agriculture Organization said 16 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory would face food and nutrition crisis. Some of these states produce the largest chunk of Nigeria's staple food. But months after, the crisis seems to have engulfed the country
COVID has been a big impact, because when we, at the peak of COVID, we needed to have these kind of containment measures, which included lockdowns, which disrupted supply of products within our country, as well as coming from offshore. We know that with COVID, with oil prices going down, because the likes of China weren't demanding as much, that has also led to lesser foreign exchange reserves, so that we've not been able to intervene enough. So we've seen our exchange rate, significant depreciation of the naira against the dollar, which means that if they are importing any products, either for production purpose or finished goods, that has to also be applied in terms of the final price, which also puts an upward pressure.
In September, the federal government acknowledged the high prices of food and worried that some middlemen could be creating artificial scarcity. But for Audu, a large-scale distributor of onions in one of Nigeria's largest food markets, the increase in prices may have been caused by other factors not earlier considered by the authorities.
And the problem I face now is that about this inside protest make our big dealers who bring goods to us, they fear to bring it. Last month with this basket before end SARS, it's just 10,000, 7,000. But now it reached 30,000.
Perhaps the biggest elephant in the room are climate change and insecurity in some farming communities. At least 25% of Nigeria's expected 8 million tons of rice harvests was said to have been destroyed by floodwaters in September.
See, in the north central, the northwest of Nigeria, you find the food production is higher, and the flooding unfortunately affected these areas. Therefore, the effect is colossal. Again, the northwest is affected also by insecurity. So these together have affected the food system. So it's going to be a lot of work before we get back to where we were before COVID-19. But we are hopeful that, God forbid another flood,
In October, federal authorities promised to support farmers with agricultural inputs and zero-interest loans to cope with the challenges.
This is time-bound. Whatever help will come to farmers will come latest by the second week of December. I think everything should come in this month, because by the third week of December they will start the dry season farming in earnest, with the hope of harvesting around March. So it's good to be now. I believe that in Kebbi, I was just speaking to some farmers yesterday. They said their names have been captured. The state government help is supposed to come in this week. The federal government is being anticipated. They are also thinking that it will not go beyond the end of the month before they get the assistance. And I believe everywhere it will be the same.
Going by the reality on the ground, experts fear other times may lie ahead for Nigerians.
We find ourselves facing two evils in macroeconomics, a recession and an inflation. So which of these two evils do you want to deal with it first? Because the policies we are trying to use to solve the recession, unfortunately, seems to make the inflation worse.
I foresee a lot of trouble going forward towards the end of the year and the beginning of 2021. Unless we work very hard, we are going to have hunger in Nigeria, unfortunately.
As the year wears on, Idris and many like him may have to endure poor nutrition as their only way of coping with the rising costs of living.
The truth of the matter is the source of inflation is not because people have more money in their hands, but more because the supply side has led to some shortages, right? So really, government has to look at it from the point of view that, look, we have all these programs to help people survive the COVID period, but we also need to pay attention to supply side. What are the things that are disrupting supply of goods and services?
The best way out of this situation is to make sure that these issues of insecurity and the mitigation of flooding, and also we must do all year round agriculture in Nigeria. We cannot wait and then depend on rain-fed agriculture.
Already limited options could also become unaffordable if nothing is done to urgently address Nigeria's food crisis. Abayomi Adisa, Gist Nigeria.
So, how has the rise in food prices affected your income? Do share your story with us on Twitter at Gist Nigeria TV.